All right, are we live yet? Are we live?
We are live.
Thank goodness we are alive today. Another day to breathe. That's good. Uh, I have my co-host Lokman here today, and then our guest today is Sean Wood, creator of Recon and the Little One. Pretty interesting concept. Uh, uh, Kickstarting at the this is what your third, fourth project?
This is my
Okay.
fourth. Yep.
So I'm gonna hopefully I have a lots of viewers, so that I could be too busy clicking in to chime in because you don't
Right.
want me chiming in. You don't want me chiming in. But look, here will be interviewing you, and then I'll be operating on the like here. Hey,
There
Higgy's
you go,
here.
Kenneth.
Hey, what's up,
So
guys?
people are starting to show up.
Hey, Kenneth, what's up? So
All right.
anyway, let's start and look. Let's go ahead and start
All right.
this interview.
So let's see. Okay, this is hi this chat there. Hippie Comics. Hey, K-pop. Cam Gordon nonsense. So it looks like everybody's starting to jump in there. Okay, so we like to normally on Wednesday we usually do a draw and chill, but we're starting to
Yeah, we
become
normally
like
draw and
a
chill.
Kickstarter interview show, right? I don't want to take away from K-pop because K-pop does the best. I'd rather have her do it.
We're the supplemental people. We're the supplemental people. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like, we like to welcome Sean to our little, I guess, hangout on Wednesday. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to Sean about his project that he has on Kickstarter, and a lot of that is you have the links and everything in the show notes there, Naman.
Yeah, it's my links are on my description.
Okay, that's perfect.
If
Yeah.
not, yell at me and I'll
Right.
fix it. Yeah.
So, looking at your Kickstarter, I kind of like when we were off air, it was reminds me of I kind of like the idea where it's kind of like robots and a little girl or something like that. That in that case, like a story of like versus zombies or versus something, right? So it's the end of the world and things are going to heck, and that it's a great little concept that we're looking at. So for Sean, could you just give us your pitch on what the concept is and why people should back this project? Because I think I like the idea.
Thank you. Yeah. The easiest pitch is robots versus zombies. Who doesn't like one or the other, and then mixing them together is just awesome. But the idea came from my fear for my daughter, because I've always been told as a writer, if you write from your fears, then that brings out the best stories. So fear for my daughter growing up in this crazy world that we're living in now, and it gets crazier by the day, it seems like. Even since I wrote this back in September.
Right.
So fear that she's growing up in this crazy world. She's 4. As a father, I want to protect her. And how do I do that in this time? And then also the robot ends up being, his quirky attitude is kind of like my son. He's 10. So he's kind of like the protector and also this like Wall-E kind of bot.
Right.
So that's how it all culminated. Fear for my daughter, and it just turned into a robot protecting the last girl on Earth against zombies. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
There you go. That's right.
Mhm.
The one shot. This is not your first campaign, is it? It's I forget. I was looking at earlier. This is
my 4th.
Yeah, your fourth campaign.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about like a lot of the time on our show we really talk about like the process, the like the creative side of things,
Yeah.
like the stumbling blocks and how you came about coming up with a story, and why did you want to write something like this? It's like I like the idea of one shots, because normally like a lot of creators I know that does Kickstarter starts off with like a 4 mini part in issue or some sort of 64,000 page
Right.
saga, like what's his name there, JJR Martin or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so
Let me
yeah.
let me interject. I like, you know why I like popcorn?
Why?
Because every piece is complete in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like a popcorn.
It's
You
one
know,
shot.
like
Yeah.
a popcorn, like
well,
a
one
popcorn.
shot. I love it. I love it. I love the one shot.
Yeah.
So Recon and the little one. Okay, so what how did you come up with this idea? Like, really, like, were you just sitting there getting stoned, or some trauma, or your kids jumping on you, and that kind of stuff? So, like,
No, nothing like that. Yeah, it was just that fear of how it's getting crazier by the day, and
right,
how do I culminate that into its own world.
right,
I definitely love doing like the world building the most out of
right,
all my stuff. I'll start there of the main story, which is going to be the robot and the girl, the emotional tie between the two, kind of an awkward start, but emotionality to it, and then the world could be anything, honestly.
right,
And I just added the robot side of things and the zombie side of things after that
right,
real fear. So that's how I came up with this story. And my previous story, it is a longer book. It's as long as I can keep on funding, which it seems to be doing fine now, is it's going to be 12 issues, and
right,
my first 4 issues would be the first arc,
right.
and that one will actually be finished and be on Kickstarter in June for that 4th issue. So
That's cool.
it's yeah.
Right. So for the writing process for this,
Yeah.
were you looking for, like, when you wrote the characters, were you just trying to develop like things like a machine doesn't have any feeling, or the machine has feeling, and it starts to develop that feeling for like a human being? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like why? It's kind of like Wally, right? So
Right.
you want to give the machine the stuff. Could you like go through that process, how you kind of like wrote that story, kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
the little girl, the world, and why that dynamic, you know what I mean?
Right. So the way the robot is, the way I built around that was the zombie stories. A lot of times you don't have like a backstory of how they became zombies. You just have zombies are in your face. You have to run from them, and then that's where the story goes.
Right,
So I wanted to figure out a reason, what could be a plausible thing that could cause zombies. Of course,
right,
scientifically, it's probably not possible in general, but the fun kind of
yeah,
world building as a writer thinking about it. So the way the zombies started, to get to the robot side, the zombies, there is barely any food left in the world, so food is scarce, and scientists over bioengineer the food that's left, thinking they can fool Mother Nature. And Mother Nature causes this vine-like infection from within people, and basically wants everything to go back to the earth.
right,
So it's not, the zombies aren't trying to eat brains or eat people. They're trying to infect you with this Mother Nature type of virus and bring everything back to the earth. And we don't deserve to be here anymore, basically.
right,
So the way the robots came into play was, at this point, there's not enough humans left in the world to fight the zombies off. So they build robots to fight the war in their place. And they have certain type of bots, and Recon bots are one of the type of bots. And their main mission is to protect the humans. So there'll be different bots that are not in this particular one shot, but there are different purposes for each type of bot, and this is their main purpose. So the way the story starts in this book is, the first page kind of explains about the food being scarce and how the vine infection happens. And now there's no reason for them to do anything. He's just wasting away in this abandoned building because there's no humans left. All the humans died off.
Right.
So he's just rusting away, and all of a sudden he hears a girl scream, which isn't supposed to be there, and he jumps into action because that was what he was built for, is to save any kind of human that's around. And it just so happens to be this little girl that's very skittish and by herself, and yeah, and the emotional tie between the two eventually builds, and it's very awkward. And like, at one point, he's just like, she's crying to herself when they're safe from the zombies for the moment, and he's just like skidding down the wall, like this big
Right.
screech noise, very awkward, like trying to make her feel better, that kind of thing. Um, so that's where I had my head, was trying to build, okay, why are these zombies here? Why would there be robots? And then build it out from there, and also have like an endpoint. So have a starting point and an endpoint, and then as I'm writing it, I figure out the middle.
Right. Is there a plan to be part two, part three kind of thing, or just uh, be in that world on its
Yeah.
own? Maybe another story arc or something like that.
Yeah. So this is going to be, in my thought process was, it would be 3 one-shots.
Right.
And so each one shot would be a different part of this universe. So it might have Recon and the little one in all 3, or it might be other bots and other people. But one of the one shots would be actually showing how the zombies started and the war.
Right.
And then another one shot would be a couple years after this issue, and explain what's going on in its own one shot. And then I want to do a 4th finale of the 3 one shots. So it'll culminate everything that you've seen, all the characters and all the aha moments coming together as one, and being this one big finale thing. So
Right. Okay.
that's the thought.
I mean, I'm a big sci-fi fan too, but I also love, Walking Dead and
Oh yeah.
that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, like, are you a big fan of that kind of stuff? Is that why you kind of wrote it, or is
Yeah.
just something that you want to do? Like, I want to do an emotional story or something like that. Like,
Yeah, so zombies, I always loved anything like The Walking Dead, 28 Days Later, that kind of
yeah,
stuff. That's always been my jam. The comic book, the movies, shows, whatever.
right,
Um, and robots, I really put robots in it because I don't see a whole lot of. I mean, there are some, but I don't see a whole lot of comics with robots as the main character, or even on Kickstarter, I don't see a whole lot of that. There is some of those, but there's few and far between. So I just thought it was a very interesting, different kind of take to bring to the Kickstarter.
yeah. I kind of like these projects where I don't have to. Sometimes I don't have to invest a lot to catch up on.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, like one of the Kickstarter I'm working with is I did a variant cover for, but it's issue 4, right? Out of 5 issue, and I have no idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you gotta do the catch up bundle kind
Right.
of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So but the one shot's always nice to have, right?
Yeah.
The end objective for you is you're gonna have like a multiple. It's kind of like if you slap together at the end of you get all the books that you need, you'll have like a trade paperback, like an anthology kind of thing in this world. Is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Just my own anthology, basically. Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Like sci-fi and you get to live in this world, I guess.
Yeah.
And but you don't have to, like, you can jump anywhere in between. That's the point of the story, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
like,
So
back
show different points of the story. So I might talk about something in this issue, but then you'll actually see it happen, and you can actually just read that one other issue, and you won't have to read this one. But
right.
of course, you'd be intrigued if to do all the different one shots. So
Right. Well,
yeah.
what was the inspiration for this? Like, was it like, you know what I mean? Like we asked, like, was it trauma or, like that kind of stuff? But like overall, like, did you just wanted to do something like this, or was it like,
Yeah, I mean, I just love comics in general. So, like, the way I started in the first place of doing comics was, like a lot of people during COVID, and doing other things kind of broke your brain, and
yeah,
you want to do something different. And I've always read them and never thought it was an avenue to do anything like this.
Right.
And my inspiration in the first place was I was reading The Walking Dead Deluxe, actually, which is kind of, interesting. But The Walking Dead Deluxe, so it's in color now. So I started collecting floppies because I'm a big floppy guy.
Right.
And at the back of the book, which I didn't realize, he had his outline, and it was just his original like plan for the story, and it had like one sentence per page of what he wanted to accomplish. And I was like, oh, it's actually that easy to try to start. So maybe I can start from there and do writing classes. I did Scott Snyder's Best Jacket Press class on Substack. And I was actually meeting with Scott Snyder once a month for the first year that I was doing all this. So he's read all my scripts and gave me advice and, how to build things better and explain things better. And so I just took a shot. I saw Kickstarter. I didn't know what Kickstarter was at first, but I'm glad that I found it. And now I've have this whole indie community around me, and they've helped me build up what I've done, and I help build up what I can for others. And it's it's a crazy journey being a comic book writer for sure.
I noticed that you are supporting a lot of Kickstarter yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely became obsessed. So I'm making my own, but yeah, I think I'm at 97 right now or something like that. And that's in 2 year span too, because I just can't help myself. So
you know what? This reminds me of you talk about your daughter inspired you, but this reminds me of whenever I see a robot and a little kid, remind me of a Iron Giant.
Yep, Iron Giant. Yeah,
Iron
yeah,
Giant.
that was somewhat inspiration. So I haven't seen Iron Giant in a long time, probably much when it came out. Was it early 2000s? But yeah, that came to mind. That and the kind of attitude was like kind of like Chappie sometimes.
Oh yeah, Chappie. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that's really where we got the look of him was kind of like Iron Giant, Chappie, and then built like a linebacker basically. Is his design. So
linebacker. So you got the football genre there too.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
About your writing process, do you write every day? Do you, you know what I mean? Like, how do you go about things like dealing with, for example, like roadblocks and writer's block and something like that?
So I would say when I first started my first script, I probably had over 30 iterations of it because I'm still trying to figure out the whole process, and it took the whole first year with the script. Whereas the more scripts that I've done now, I've written 6 full scripts, and then I have an outline for the whole story of my other book, The Fog Within, like page by page. So now that I've done it a lot more in the last 2 years, it gets easier and easier for sure. But there will always be roadblocks. There will always be how do I finish this page? How do I continue the flow? But I always have the beginning and I always have the end. So if I get stuck at, page 5 or 6, well, I know where we're going to get to. So maybe I can do, the page before the last and then build backwards. And eventually at some point, something will click and I can figure something out, or I'll read more comics, in the same genre, watch movies in the same genre and try to break down how they're doing it. It also changes how you watch things for sure.
Yeah.
When you have like the writer's mentality, like you just like not destroy, but in a way, like you're really destroying the whole like fantasy of it not being real kind of thing. Like you're not really like delved into the story anymore because you're trying to break it down for yourself. And
you're looking at the scene, you're looking at the beat, you're looking at the timing, the pacing. Exactly. I know.
It's a whole nother level though. At first it was kind of depressing because I'm like, oh, I see how that's going to happen and why before it happens. But now I love critiquing it, and not in like a fanboy, like boo, everything sucks kind of way. But it's more of a higher level, I guess, of watching things.
Yeah. You're hyper aware.
Yeah.
Of the scene you're looking at.
Yeah.
Then that's why I like the behind the scenes stuff or the director's commentary.
Yeah.
right? You're
Oh,
watching stuff and you want to know what is in the director's head, how that's broken down, right?
oh
So
yeah.
that's the same for me. Every time I can get my hand on a artist edition book from IDW of one of my favorite books or
Oh
something
yeah.
like that, I want to crack that open. I want to see the notes that's written on the side. I want
Yeah.
to see the pencil lines and
Yeah.
all the other stuff, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
like um, going into your script writing process. I know you mentioned Zach earlier. Like, um, was that something like did you want it to write comics or did you start it out like wanting to write like just tell stories? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
stories, long
So
form format. You know?
yeah, I've never had any want to do prose or anything like that. I've always just read comics. I'm a big every Wednesday, being at the LCS for the
Right.
last 15 years. A little backstory too is when I was growing up, my dad had everything from the 60s into the mid 90s. He was collecting since he was a kid.
Right.
So I had all those long boxes to look at anytime I ever wanted to. It would take forever to get through like which ones I wanted to read because he had so many long boxes. But I mean that was huge. So I kind of grew up in the whole thing, and then when I became an adult, I and had like a real job, I started collecting way too many comics, way too fast. But I wouldn't have any other way. Um, so I just never saw an avenue to do that. So I've always loved movies, loved storytelling in general, but I
Right.
didn't see like a career in that.
Right.
I always saw, okay, you get the retail job, get the family, have kids,
Yeah.
kind of make sure that you protect your family and grow what you can, like get a house and all that kind of stuff, like the norms.
Right.
I didn't see an avenue into the creative side.
Right.
But then when I saw that was a thing, then that was like an aha moment. And okay, I got to at least try this. Now, I will say I was very naive when I started because I was like, oh, Kickstarter, I'm going to make $4,000 in the first book. Eventually, I'm going to quit my job and this will be my thing. And I'll never have another care in the world. Um, but I am glad that I was that naive because I think if I knew how hard it is to be an indie guy,
Yeah.
sometimes to not really make any money, but the joy of it all. If I didn't know all of that, then I might not have started. But
Hmm.
I'm glad I'm stuck in this crazy world of being a writer, and I wouldn't have any other way for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
well,
We're in the comic book industry to be rich, right? Is that what's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that's what I
Yeah.
thought, but yeah, I
Yeah, yeah. You
quickly
have the
learned
page rate that I got offered.
when
you guys are like one of the. I mean, comic book artists. I'm finding out they're not making much money,
No, that's right.
and
yeah,
the writer. So
It is a grind. It is a
yeah,
grind, right?
So what
but it's
what is
real.
your end goal at this? I'm wondering what is your end goal at this uh, Kickstarter projects that you opened up and you're supporting a bunch of them. What are everybody's end goal? Is everybody
Yeah.
end goal?
I mean, I would love to be noticed by bigger guys. I I'm actually trying to do anthologies now. I'm doing three as we speak. So I'm at the same time I'm doing the Fog Within 4. I'm getting pages. Actually, I'm getting one of my pages today. I'm doing this book and live with, and then I'm doing three other anthologies, and I've got two that I'm already getting art for, and I'm just trying to do as much as possible in the short time that I have. I've only been doing this for 2 years now, but the quicker I can do some things, the more notice I can get, I feel like, anyways. And then, I would love to be published. Um, I don't know if that'll happen, but I mean, just having my own books, showing my kids that you can do this, that you can anything you put your mind to, you can do. Don't let anybody stop you. There's always an avenue to do your dreams. That's a big thing. But yeah, just trying to do as much as I can just to be noticed and try to do more and more and hopefully at least start to build up a little bit of revenue.
Right.
I don't have to make a whole lot because I've got a full-time job, but I would I would like to be in the green if all possible.
Yeah, that's I think that's most of us here
Yeah.
too. Even what we do, we have our secondary job that we don't like, and we rather be doing this all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, anybody who's joining us on or watching us on the rerun, the campaign for Sean's book is in the show note, I guess, and all his social is on there too. If you can back it, that'd be awesome. Let's see what we're looking at. What are we looking at? So for me, I'm looking at, so your goal is $3,000 and you pretty much went $574 over. Yeah, which is great, but I think you'll want more.
Oh yeah.
On average, I think for books, anyways, for one single book, minimum I think we need is at least if we can bring it up to 5,000 is ideal for Sean to have enough for the next project and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
that's normally what we want to get to, right? So if we can get a few backers tonight, that'd be great. We'll go through the Kickstarter campaign soon. We just want to talk to Sean, right?
Let me go ahead. You mind if since we got some people here, can I play the
You want to play the trailer? Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me see if I could do that.
You got to share a screen first there, Nauman.
I haven't shared the screen.
Nope.
No, I'm going to play it from here. Right?
Right, but you still got to share it.
I haven't shared the screen?
Nope, nothing.
Can
you not see it?
You don't see the because I have shown. I'm going to remove it. Now I'm going to add it.
Okay. You see anything, John? No.
Oh wow.
I saw something load, but nothing there.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and remove it. I'm going to just go ahead and start over. Oh, that is odd.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Our guest today is Sean. His project is Recon and the Little One. So it's a post-apocalypse comic. There we go.
There we go.
All right, so let's play the trailer. Let's do that. Right. Make sure you give Sean a follow on Instagram. If you can back this project or support it anyway, either by backing the project or by sharing the campaign, that'd be awesome, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Like the music too.
Yeah. So that's the same music I use for all my my trailers, just because it's free.
Yeah.
Use the word
free and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you let's talk about the script writing part of this book. I again, you went into you did a course with Zach. Yeah, and that was on Substack. I didn't know he was offering that on Substack. Right? That's to me, that's cool. when you wrote the script down, like your process of writing the script, do you already like sometimes when I'm doing a script, like if I'm doing a 20 page, I would say like, I would do an outline per page, like a story beat that says this happened here, 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 here.
Right.
Then slowly going into that and go, okay, well, I need 5 panels here, 6 panels there. How talk us through about how you go through like even just your
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends, honestly. So I have like for other issues of my other stuff, I have gone just line by line, like for like I was saying, Walking Dead Deluxe had with Robert
Right.
Kirkman, how it was just one line, what I'm trying to relay for that page, and then move on. But sometimes also the story is coming to me panel by panel in my head.
Right.
So sometimes it'll be a hybrid of the two. It'll be some panels of the entire page, and even some like quick dialogue of like what I want to bring across, or it's just going to be if I don't have the exact thing immediately like in my head writing it right away, then yeah, I'll just do an outline for each page, and then I just build it from there. So if it's just the outline, then I'll make a document of that and just put that at the top of the page, and then just space out how I'm going to do the panels after that. But yeah, it just really depends. And with my writing process too, like they do say that if you can write a little bit every day, that makes it easier and easier. That doesn't always work though, just because life happens.
Yeah.
But every chance that I get, I'm trying to write. And even if I'm like putting a post together for this, because I'm on the socials every single day, on all the socials, just to get the awareness out there, because no one's gonna put it out there but me. If I'm not willing to do it, then no one else is. But using those posts to think of new ways of getting people intrigued about it, that's even storytelling in itself. But
Right.
that could be like your day thing that you've done. Try to make your imagination and keep on turning and keep on changing, and just trying to build everything that you're doing, whether it's an actual script or even the socials. So
Right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Do you ever like make a little, even just a stick figure? And you say, I don't know if you say you're an artist yourself or not, but
No, definitely stick figures.
you okay? Do you ever like make up a little stick figures so that others that has a little more
Like for the panels.
perspective on your panels and
Yeah, so what I've done, there has been a couple times where one of the artists I'm working with, they want to understand better by seeing it visually. So I'll do what one of my artists calls matchstick figures. um,
stick figures.
yeah, he's always laughing at them, but I mean, it definitely helps. But a lot of times, what I do is instead of the matchstick figures or the stick figures, is I know what I would see, in my head of how I want something to look, whether it's a certain look from a character or a laugh or just the way that they're going to be moving. I'll go on Google and just try to search, whatever my thought is in the image search, and then find an
Ah,
image and I add that to my script. So I'll
ah,
say, this is what I'm trying to do for panel one. This is what I'm trying to do for panel two. If I feel like it needs more proof of what I'm talking about. I don't do it for every panel, but the ones that are more intricate of my thought process, then I'll find an image. And that's always like my last step before I send it to the artist. So I'll do like the outline, then I do, panel by panel. Then I'll do the dialogue added to the panels of sort of what I want to relay. And then I'll do the images and say which panel it is for the whole script. And then my final thing is after I have the actual art, at least the inks, then I'll go back and do the dialogue and do like the finishing touches, I guess, before I go, to the letter at the end with colors and everything like that. So that's my typical process.
how much of for the panel stuff do you let the artists like when you work with an artist, do you let them take some liberties in
Yeah.
certain stuff, or do
Oh
you
yeah.
or are you very structured You know what I mean? Like panel 1 is blah blah blah, panel 2, panel 3. You know, it has to follow a story beat, or do you allow the artist to sometimes squeeze in an action here and there that makes a little more sense because the scene requires maybe a camera flip or something like that. You need to
yeah. I mean, I tell them at the beginning, like, I have it very structured, but I mean, it's a collaboration. So the best works can come from two minds, not one. I'm not going to be that guy saying I'm the best, do it or else kind of thing. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help the process. That makes it very awkward. And I'm definitely a huge collaborator. And the best ideas have come from the collaboration side of things. Talking it out if there's any issues, or if I'm not relaying exactly what I need to relay to the artist. If they ask a question, then sometimes just that sentence of, hey, what'd you mean here? Then I think of a new thought, and then we add it to the book. Like, for instance, right there on that page, where the blood, it says all that's left is rust. That's the title of this one shot. And at first, when we did the pencils, it was basically that panel, but it didn't have all that's left is rust. That's actually in the artwork. And I said, I just read the Rockefellers from Ghost Machine with Francis Manipal. And he did the whole Will Eisner thing where the title was in the background, like in the mountains or something like that. And as soon as we were talking about this page, he sent me the pencils. I was like, hey, is there any way you can add this? It'd be perfect right there. It's at the beginning of the book. And that blood, it would look way cooler if it ended up being the title. And I added it, as part of the dialogue and everything as well. And that I've had a lot of compliments about that, just because it's just a simple touch, but it adds so much depth to the page, I think. So,
yeah, it's very cinematic. That's really what that is. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to interject here. Sean, remember my trailer? I mean, when I was reacting to it?
Yeah, spaghetti.
Yeah. I made sure that everything was based on cooking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed or not.
So the Muncher side, I didn't want to call them zombies. I wanted to have, not that it's my own name, it has been out there as that name, but I didn't want to be normal about anything to do with the zombies. I wanted to have a backstory. I wanted to be, infection, the vine thing, and then I had to just build more world building. Because like I said before, that's my favorite part of all of this, is just all the world building and just making it as detailed as possible. So so it's not necessarily about food, but yeah, I guess it does look like spaghetti, like you were saying, which made me laugh, and my wife liked that. And then the Munchers thing too. So it might be
also, you're talking about people being hungry and all that stuff. So I thought it was very appropriate that there should be a food-related trailer reaction.
And I want to say too, one thing that a lot of people say is, like, for instance, the letters. The best letterers, they don't stand out. They just fade in the background, and that's when you have a good book. But my guy, he does do that, but also with like the sound effects, especially. He brings art to it, and it adds that whole nother level, and you can hear the robot, thunk thunk thunk, and all that kind of stuff. The splort. A lot of people have enjoyed that random word. Again, I wanted to make it as detailed as possible. I didn't want to, the pow bang biff. I wanted to be more specific. So I did a lot of that. There's a lot of sound effects in this book.
Right. You did write it into the script, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that was like the final draft, was the sport.
So that was you. That wasn't the artist.
Yeah. So that was me wanting to put that in there, and that's actually my letterer. So I can't take full credit. I had the word, but he made it look pretty. So yeah, and Justin from Letter Squids, he's been my guy since the beginning. I got a lot of compliments from my first 3 books with the other series, The Fog Within, and I think I'll be using him for anything that I do. So
yeah, a good letterer will lead the story. Let's put it this way. Use the word balloon as a guide to bring the eye from one panel to the other, just in case. I noticed the artwork and all that stuff. It's fantastic. I like the dark, gritty look, right? And the simplicity of that. How did you go about choosing the artist? Did he work on your project previously, or is this?
Yeah, so this is a new project with him. I saw him on Kickstarter. So with my other book, I just scoured Facebook, groups, trying to find somebody that I thought would bring what I'm looking for to the book. And with this one, I've backed so many Kickstarters. I backed a couple of his stuff because he's a freelance guy, but he also does his own thing, which I want to shout out to his new book. I was telling y'all just started live with Confederate Monsters number 1 through 5. Dave Schwartz, he's my artist. But yeah, so the main thing I wanted with this book was I needed someone that I knew could bring emotionality to a metal robot that doesn't have any emotion. So like in the eyes and in the face that doesn't really move. And I think he really did a perfect job at that because this is a lot of emotional ties between the girl and the bot the whole time. And that's really the core of it. So it had to have that look to it as well. It couldn't just be in the dialogue. It needed to be in the art.
Yeah, those lettering really helped because you definitely can tell that the robot was like human. I mean, what the you see the mechanical sound that's coming out of his thought.
Yep.
So the lettering is perfectly done. Very nice, very nice.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Who's your colorist too? The colorist is
So it's Dave as well. So he's the penciler, inker, and the colorist. So
wow. Okay.
And he is fast too. He just finished. We are now at all colors for all the pages, all 24 as of last weekend.
Right.
So he did the pencils and inks back in November and finished all the pages in December because he was like shooting pages out like crazy. And I had to wait till some more money came in before the Kickstarter finished to finish the book. And I gave it to him 2 weeks ago, and he did half the pages in colors in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And he's crazy with the art for sure. Yeah. And he's doing his own book too, and other books. He apologized a couple of times because he had to do like a 4-pager here and there for other people, and I was like, "You're way faster than I've seen for anybody. I can't keep up money wise, so you're fine to do another project here and there in between because it gives me time to build something up." So
yeah. He's probably pretty young too, so at the same time.
Yeah, so I think he's closer to 40, I think. But yeah, and he's also an art teacher on the side. So he's in Detroit, I think, and at one of the local universities down there, and does that part-time and then does this the rest of the time. So
yeah. No, I mean the art style, it's dynamic, it's moving. Like if you look at the page, it is moving, right? So sometimes it's a credit to the writer to giving the pacing for the stuff, but the artist interpretation sometimes bring that little magic to the top.
Oh yeah,
everything else.
Yeah, and one thing with my my pitch at the front of the Kickstarter page, I say it's a mix of Samurai Jack style action meets Wall-E. And that came from just seeing these first few pages when this first started coming in. Just the way he did the action, it gave me that Samurai Jack feel of the quick, bursts of energy, and then story. So and his art style really, it feels like a kind of a mix between like Bruce Timm, like the Batman animated series type stuff, and like Francis Manapul, like I was mentioning earlier. That's kind of like the feel that I get from his art. So
yeah, that's why I say slice and dice. So.
Yeah, definitely slice and dice for sure.
Right. So anybody who's joining us for the first time, we're talking to Sean, our brain's not working, our creator here of this series called Recon and the Little One. It's a post-apocalyptic one-shot. It's got robots, it's got zombies, it's got actions, it got pretty much everything you want in this project. If you take a look at the Kickstarter, that information is in the show note. Sean's social media is also in the show note. Please give him a follow. Definitely give him a follow. If you can back this project, that'd be awesome. But if you don't have the money, there's a digital tiers and all the other stuff. But any support you have would be great because we want to bring him at least double the amount of his gold. I believe that would be the ideal thing. So that way he can actually continue on to the next book and stuff like that. So his stretch gold is about no, his gold is $3,000, but we want to bring him up at least $5,000, right? So if you got a few minutes, just copy and paste the URL and just post it on your Instagram, your Twitter, your X, Blue Sky, Mastodon, you name it. Whatever you can do to support the project, that'd be great, right? So, okay, so let's go to the Kickstarter. Do you have any other questions? I think, Naman, do you have any questions for him about the creative process? I mean, we talked about the coloring, the books, his writing style, I guess. Do you have a writing style or something like that, or do you?
I mean, I'd say my writing
towards something like that, or
Yeah, I mean, I would say the writing style I did with this one compared to my other one was drastically different and on purpose because I want to challenge myself. So I could say that at least.
Right.
So with my other series, there's a big group. It's kind of like G.I. Joe meets X-Men type of group,
right.
In a Mad Max-like universe. So with that one, I have a big dynamic of all these people, talking back and forth and different scenes with different characters going back and forth. Whereas this one, the story goes, with these two main characters, and it's a point A to point B. He's trying to protect her in the best way he can and get her out of the zombie area, basically. So it's more simplistic, but it's also more difficult to make it interesting because there's not as much dialogue going on. There's not as many characters to play off of. So I really use this as a challenge. Pretty much everything that I did with the other series, I want to do opposite. So like the art is all digital compared to I have traditional in my other book. I wanted to bring in a new team just to show I can work with other people. Even from the logo is more solid and complete, whereas the Fog Within is kind of like a faded like fog part of it. So literally everything I wanted to do opposite. So I didn't want to be bogged down with one type of writing style. I want to show that I can do other things to other people and to myself, just to show I can just always challenge myself.
Right. So you don't want to be doing superheroes for the rest of your life, kind of thing, right? Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could do. I would love to do anything. So like my anthologies are completely different than these two series too.
Right.
I've got a historical kind of Arthurian Excalibur type story in this one anthology. Another one is fairy tales. So I'm trying to branch out and just show myself that I can do this.
Right. So. That's yeah. You just want to make sure that you have a breadth of portfolio of writing that you can refer to, just in case if Dynamite or Heavy Metal or something like that asks you to, or 2080 or something like that, right? That's the idea for that stuff, right? So your end goal is to get to be published or picked up by a publisher. Is that correct? Or
I mean, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to happen because it's few and far between for sure, especially for newer guys. But I'm doing everything in my power that would make me stand out and show that I can do it. And I would love to do that. That would definitely be the dream end goal, I guess.
Right. Have you tried submitting for like maybe Image or
so like when I first started, I definitely tried to submit The Fog Within, and I talked to different publishers at different cons like Mad Cave and stuff like that. And I don't have any expectation that it'll ever get to that point, but at least I can put it out there and just see what happens. If I don't put it out, then no one's ever gonna help me get there. So I really hope that this one shot universe could be that kind of thing. I'll definitely give it to Image, but I mean, Image, I don't expect to get a call back. But
it's nice to have that rejection letter at
Yeah.
least,
Oh yeah.
right?
Let me ask you guys. Let me guys, both of you, both the writer. We got writer and you got artist here. As a as a just a poor YouTuber here. I'm just asking you guys. W- is there like a working model? Like, is there some kind of example where a artist or writer, you know, some context, look at the Kickstarter project that you're involved in and says, "Oh, okay, this is Joe Smith here. We like his writing or we like his art." And one of the image guy comes in and says, let's have him come into our office and let's talk to him about his project." That is that kind of model ever? I mean, is that kind of happening? Uh, I mean, is
Um,
that a thing?
I
Is that a
mean,
thing? Is that a thing that
so
happens?
the thing with what I've seen and what I've been told in like my different classes and other indie creators, there's not one way of breaking in. That everybody has their own story of the the chance meeting at a con or and you just happen to get in front of the right guy at the right exact time, or getting in as an editor for a book as a regular job, and then eventually showing your stuff, to publishers and building from there, or working for, like, for instance, for Brian Michael Bendis, he they weren't podcasters, but they helped with like his writing class,
Yeah.
on the digital side, like on the YouTuber side, I guess you'd say. And eventually, because they had Brian Michael Bendis, on their side, they got a book that they were trying to put out, and they got their first book on Image.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it was called. It was a good book. Kill Your Darlings or something like that. And that's how they broke in. So I mean, everybody has their own story. There's
Yeah.
not just one way, and there's not really a formula.
Image doesn't,
There's
yeah,
Yeah,
the publishers don't really, no, I mean, the publishers don't really go out and, like, you'll get an accidental once in a while, but publishers don't go out actively seeking artists and writers and
yeah,
stuff. They'll post something up
yeah,
on
like
their
submission
websites
pages. Yeah,
and they'll say, submit a pitch,
Mm,
right?
yeah,
And here's for writing, submit a pitch. Or, do you have a team? Here's an artist, here's cover artist, here's letters, here, all this other stuff. That's the stuff you hear where back in the days I used to walk in my portfolio at San Diego Comic-Con and I would try to get my portfolio review, right? That's how you get discover.
oh,
But
wait a second. Then could this various Kickstarter project, could this be your portfolio build up?
yes,
Could this
it
be
yeah,
your,
can. It
yeah,
happened with Mark Spear. Mark Spear, right? Mark Spear's been grinding away, and he created his own book called Monster,
Mhm.
right?
yeah,
And it kind of blew up.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Then that first book kind of blew up. But here's the thing. But it was so big. He approached Image. Image turned him down. He approached all these companies. They turned him down, right? Until he got into uh, what's that company? Shoot, Epoch or E something. Um, that's the crappy cover I was yelling at Mark for on one of the streams, right? Yeah, they were using cheap paper and all that stuff. And Nick Baruti, I was yelling at him for his Vampirella paper stock that he's been using and all the other stuff too, right? From Dynamite. But a lot of the time is they say submit your pitch, submit your stuff, right? But it's nice to have somebody who can actually that are in the industry that can actually say, hey, you know what? I like his writing style. Give him a chance, right? And that's how you get into it, right?
Okay.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's how that
Okay.
works.
yeah.
Here's let me ask you this, guys. Okay. Um, you started your first Kickstarter project. Is
Yeah.
it reasonable for you to expect that one project bring you a stardom?
I mean, I think that's definitely harder to do because no one's seen anything else you can do. You could say, yes, I made this one comic, but if you don't have a track record, then a lot of times they wouldn't really take a chance. And in that aspect, I don't think you still push for it, of course, because that's the dream. But yeah, I think that's less when you do like your first one. So that's why I'm trying to branch out and that kind of thing, is to show that I can continue to do this. And it also, they do look at like, for like Mad Cave and stuff like that, they are looking at if you've done a Kickstarter, how much you earned. So what can you bring to the table to them
Yeah.
as well? I have heard stories of that. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and it just shows that there's an audience for the book. If people are backing and you have an audience that you can bring with you as well, this you slowly build. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like,
Slowly build. It's a long-term game, isn't it? That's
yeah,
what I'm trying to get at. This
yeah,
is
yeah.
a long-term game, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. What I'm trying to get is this is not a first project. Yay! I'm going to become a star.
Right, right.
It's not that, right, guys?
No,
it rarely happens. It
yeah,
rarely
You
happens.
guys building. You are doing these projects, doing it again. You building on your portfolio, and you showing that you could survive,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good word for it. Yeah.
You're showing that and then maybe you can make it after that, right?
Yep.
It's a long term project. It's I just uh, uh I am a supportive. I'm a supporter. Okay, I like to support these people who like to dive into this creative endeavor. I am a huge supporter of that. But this is your first project, I want it because these are my friends. Hey, take it easy.
Right, right.
Prepare yourself for some,
Disappointment.
rejection. Some, prepare yourself for. It's gonna be hard. Hard. You have a. If this gonna be your. You feel if this is your. Uh, you honestly are trying to become creator,
Yeah,
whether it's art or writer, then prepare yourself for the your long term project. It's not a single term project.
yeah,
It's not a one shot project, right? I mean,
yep.
I'm not knocking the one shot comic book.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm saying that you have a 3 project in your belt, and then you are you are looking to continually build up your portfolio this way,
yeah.
That's
Right.
right.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just um
This is why we're here. This is
Yeah.
why
yeah.
we're here. Sean is trying to save comics one book at a
Yeah,
time.
one book at a time.
It
Exactly.
is. It
Yeah.
is that is what you're doing, right? We get a lot of drama in the YouTube comic community.
Yeah.
I'm an outsider. I'm an artist. I create stuff. I worked with Tops, Upper Deck, and these big companies and stuff like that. So my thing all the time is how do we bring in new readers, right?
Right.
Because a lot of the time is I'm a big fan of indie books. Without indie books, Marvel wouldn't have their stories, DC wouldn't have their stories, because those stories get stale afterwards. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a cycle to them. I mean, how many times am I gonna get, Professor X fighting, uh, Magneto? Magneto becomes bad. Magneto becomes good. Magneto starts to team. Magneto ends. Got
Right.
now you got the multiverse. You got they're rebooting everything and anything they can possibly think of,
Yeah.
right?
Anything with a spider in its name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now there's like multiple Venoms, Venom
Yeah.
this, Venom that. Very soon there'll be a Venom socks. I'm waiting for that because there's already a shark, so this is
Yeah.
great, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So it is a So you're like, I admire writers and creators who does these things because they are trying to save comics, because without these indie creators, that's why we're here, guys. Please back this project if you can. Even any support you can, even just sharing the links and stuff like that. Because
Yeah, sharing is huge.
yeah, this is one of those things where you want this storytelling has always been our innate, I guess, human nature kind of thing that we've, ever since fire was discovered, people gather around, tell stories, tells, you know what I mean? And this is what comic is. With what's happening with Diamond's going into receivership right now, and they're starting to auction off a lot of the stuff. So there's going to be like I'm thinking about 2 years of pain, and there's going to be a lot of Kickstarters. There's going to be a lot of indie creators right now. This is what I project. There's going to be a lot of indie creators on Kickstarters. Small publishers are going to go on Kickstarters. So it's going to be a crowded space, and it's going to be hard for small creators, somebody like Sean here, to get notice next to something like Coffin Press or these bigger companies, right? Like Dynamite. They're not as big as Marvel or DC, but they're there, right?
Yeah.
If Todd goes on Kickstarter, I guarantee you $2-3 million is gone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like right off the bat, that's $20, $30 out of my wallet, and that's out of your wallet already, and there's nothing left for, right? So that brings
GI Joe's. GI Joe's, I think, was one of the biggest ones last year. Yeah. And that's everybody knows who that is. Yeah.
It is one of those things where like I'm very appreciative of creators doing this on Kickstarter. I'm a big super backer myself. But I've got stung so many times. So I'm kind of glad that you already have a bunch of stuff under your belt and your book is pretty much done.
Yep.
Right. So that is a good sign that, that what you're doing, what you're getting into and all the other stuff too. Right. So
that's a big thing too with the Kickstarters. Of course, it's all about trust.
Yeah.
So I've been huge from my first book. I had it financed myself before I even went to Kickstarter so that it could almost be done. And, I said, I think December was going to be my first book coming out, print and shipping and everything. And I actually got it out at the end of November. So I always want to have some cushion. But I still only have it like 2 months out or 3 months out max after my Kickstarter's done. And I've always been ahead of schedule. And I don't see it being any different for this one and for future ones. Because like I said, I'm getting the Fog Within 4 pages right now. We're on page 7 on inks, and all of the first 6 pages are to the colorist. So by the time I go live with that, I'll probably be completely done before I even hit launch. So that's always been huge because in the 2 years I've already been hit with a big one that I haven't got yet, and it's been well over a year.
Right.
And you can't build an audience without trust.
Yep.
And if they don't trust you, they're going to stop backing you. So you can't build anything from there. You have to have them on your side. And I completely understand that as a backer myself and as the creator. So it's huge.
Yeah. So Sean's goal was when he put for this Kickstarter book was $3,000. I'm assuming a lot of the time what I know from Kickstarter is $3,000 is just like barely breaking even. Right. I've talked to Ben Dunn with Antarctic Press, and he's telling me that every time he publishes a book, it's a minimum $6,000, right?
That's a good number, I would say.
Yeah, right. Pay the artists, pay the writers. I know because I do the covers for him. Right. So
so you need to have like a starting point. So that's what a lot of people will do, because like my first one, I was gonna put 4,000 as the total, but someone told me you're never gonna hit 4,000 for your first book because you don't have an audience yet. So I made it 2,500, knowing full well that's not gonna be enough to fund the book for personally to break even, but it's slowly building. So like my first one I hit exactly 2,500 the last 5 minutes of the campaign.
Right.
And then each one's gotten slightly bigger and bigger. And my last campaign was in September. That was 3,700 was my final number. And now I'm past the backer amount that I've been so far, and yeah, we're getting real close to that with about midway through this campaign. So I'm slowly building that audience that you really need to get to the actual number.
Yeah, it's a grind. I understand
Yeah.
that it's a grind. Every day you're posting. Every day you're trying to get some audience.
I mean, you know, from let me show you something. You got a.
Do you want to go through the reward?
Yeah, I'm looking at the pledge here, right? So you get for $5 pledge, you get the digital copy.
Yep.
For you to get a physical copy is $10, right?
Yeah.
So that's the digital deluxe. So that one has.
We're talking about that was just digital deluxe, not a physical copy.
Yeah. So that's digital deluxe. So that'll have like my explanation of like all that's left is rust kind of scene of where I came up with that, and it'll have like pencils and inks as well. Right. And
it's better to hit the reward tab there, Naman. Then you can scroll through a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Hit the reward tab. Yeah.
Yeah. So so to get a physical copy is $12.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just click on the little thing on the side there for each level, and it'll jump to that. That makes it easier. So no, on your left there.
Yeah, I click on this one.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
That is cover A.
Yep.
Yeah. So so here's isn't our ultimate end goal, if we want to really say that we are the Kickstarter creators going to replace or be better than DC or Image or Marvel eventually.
Right.
Don't we eventually have to get to the point where we are offering these physical copies to people in hand for $5 per comic book, right? Isn't that our ultimate goal?
Yes.
Yeah. So I do have like for that like retailer goals in there that makes it closer to that, because I want it in LCSs as well. And I have gotten a couple that are bigger tiers and then smaller tiers for the LCSs. But the price of the books for me is going to be well over, $4, $5 per issue. So that's the Kickstarter standard is like $10 for a physical, 10 to 15 or so, depending. And then
because
also
you've got to include the packaging, the backboards, all the labor,
Gemini mailers. Yeah.
So ideally, Naman, like there's a minimum for Kickstarter. There's a minimum printing run for every. Where are you printing? Can I ask? Or
yeah. So I'm using Comic Impressions.
Okay.
They're in Florida.
Yeah. So there is a minimum print run that you need. Like for example, for if you have multiple covers, can I ask what is your minimum? Like 10 copies or 25?
So depending on how much I sell of the variants, I'm gonna get more for cons, but I'll probably do like at my last issue I did 50 of each of the variants, and then I mainly got cover A to continue on with at like 150, something like that, I think is what I went with. So
yeah. You go to con too, by the way. You go to con. You've been going to cons. Okay, so how you have been doing at the cons? You got a lot of support at the con?
Yeah, so I did my first con actually last Saturday. That was my first real con locally. It was a 1 day because I needed a table that would be cheaper. Try to get it out there. Try to feel out how I'm gonna do this. I got my banner to show that and I have it on there. It says the writer, so that people don't ask me all day. Oh, are you the artist? No, I'm just the writer. And stuff like that. And I did really well. I was definitely in the green on that. I think I paid $100 for the table, and I went well past that and sold plenty of books. By the end, they were asking for my picture, and instead of me asking, "Do you want my signature?" they were asking, "Can I get your signature?" And they act all like fanboy type thing, and that was pretty cool to see. It's very strange, honestly, because I'm normally like just shouting at the screen, "Hey, buy my book on Kickstarter." I'm not like next to a person, that looks at the art and is saying things about the art or anything back. So that was really cool. And I met some other creators that, I always talk to online, and they were there at the con one of the guys I'm doing the anthology for, he was there, and we got to chat for a while, and we're gonna have dinner at another con together, and just meeting all those guys, just the supporters in general, but also the other creators. It's just a
There must
total,
be another adrenaline rush. I mean, there must be different
yeah.
kind of adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of nerves at first because you want
Yeah.
to be prepared and know everything before you've even done it, and get as much advice as you can. Like with the Square app and all that kind of stuff, how not
Yeah.
to mess that up, and keeping up with your prices and not getting distracted of talking about something, and then they take something and you forgot to bill them for it. Just the weird basic stuff like that. It's a lot to put your wrap your mind around, but yeah, once I was there for like an hour, it got a lot easier. And my pitch definitely changed for my book too, because you got those people that are like slowly walking by, and if you get them with like less than a sentence, they'll stop. But if you're saying like your whole elevator pitch, which mine is like 2 sentences online, that they're already like slowly gone. They didn't even hear like how they actually will like the book. So yeah,
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 that's
everything's
called Doppler effect.
yeah, yeah, yep, exactly.
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting. You're always changing your pitch
Yeah.
based on what it is, right? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
always do the. Oh, I love that T-shirt. Oh, I love that. That's how I get them to that.
Right.
Oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Try that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see a
Yep.
T-shirt or something. Where'd you get that T-shirt? Oh, where'd you get that print? Or and you bring them to the table. Hey, I noticed you like robots, and
Right.
that's how I go.
Yeah.
You learn these little things later on.
No, I was at the con and I was filming. I was just filming the con. I just want to make my little
Yeah.
content, right? So I'm filming, and there's this guy going. He's doing this in front of my camera. I'm going, okay. It's
Good
like
attention.
I end up going over there buying comic books that I really didn't plan for buying,
Right.
But that you're gonna have to put on a different hat than being an artist now or a writer now, right? You
Yep.
gotta be the salesman now,
Oh yeah.
and that's going to be tough for a lot of us artists and writers that are just used to do their own things, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden, oh yeah, you have to what? I have to sell my own stuff.
Right. There's a lot of hats, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Who's
find
gonna
that,
build your stuff besides yourself? I mean,
Yeah.
Are you breaking out of that? Are you a shy person, or do you find it that it's easier now that this is your first con that you went out
Right.
on, and now you're doing YouTube,
Yeah.
and YouTube
Yeah.
interviews and stuff like that. So like Nam and I try to tend to focus on the creative side of things to bring out the stuff instead of the technical of the books and stuff like
Right.
that. We'll go near that at the end. But do you find that now that you did your first con, are you a little bit more confident in your pitch and all that
yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a weird dynamic because I am a shy person typically, but my job, I'm a branch manager of a retail store, and I have to deal with a lot of personalities, customer wise and employee wise. So I'm not shy at work whatsoever. I am the guy that you go to for everything you need, and I'm a big logistics type guy for these big projects that I deal with. But when it comes to like just like the regular world outside of work, yeah, I'm definitely the shy guy. So my first couple podcasts when I started 2 years ago, oh man, I got the StreamYard link, and I was in the backstage or whatever right before you click that people see you, and I was like, it took me a lot to hit that button to launch and be there because like. I mean, I knew what I wanted to say, but getting it out and actually saying the words without stuttering and all that kind of stuff, that was not a fun thing at first. But now I'm honestly enjoying all these conversations about the book and staying in this fantasy world. So like for this campaign, I'm doing I think 18 in 20 days podcasts. So because the more you get it out there, the more audience see it, the more people will like it, and the more chance I can get to that actual goal. So
It's a massive grind for you right now. I know
but
that.
it's totally worth it though. Every second talking to people like y'all is the greatest. I mean, talking about my book more and just other people loving it with me is awesome in itself. But then also just more eyes, the better.
Yeah. This is the comic book community on YouTube is really welcoming, right? These groups here, and they're very supportive. So just an FYI kind of stuff, right? But there are some darker side of that.
That's true.
Too. So
I just avoid all kinds of drama. So if I see any kind of drama, I just go the other way because that doesn't help anything. I mean, you might get looks and views and stuff, but they're not buying books when they're seeing the drama. They just want to hear the rumor mill type of stuff. And I don't have time for that. I'm positive. Hey, I have a book to sell. And I hope you enjoy this kind of story. That's what I'm here for.
My recommendation is focus on that branding of yours. You want that image to stick. I have a very specific image that I got to stick to. I can't do certain artwork. That's because I do stuff for Tops, for Upper Decks, for Mattel, right? So once I stray from that, if I do an SF kind of work or something like that, I'm done for. That's my livelihood, that kind of stuff. So so just keep an eye out for that, right?
Yeah.
But this community is very supportive. Yeah.
So like the NSFW stuff, that's fine for that audience. I don't have a problem with it, but that's definitely not me. Like I don't have any cursing in my books, just because that's not me. I mean, yes, I can curse, and I curse, in public or whatever.
We do it all the time, so don't worry.
Yeah. Another word. I'm just like a sailor over here. But I don't put it in my books because, for one, my kids, my son's 10, and he loves reading the books and just looking up to me. And I feel like if my son's reading that, and he wouldn't be able to look up to me the same way that he does. So I stay away from that. There's plenty of action, plenty of page turns that'll shock you and everything, and it's a lot of fun. But there's never going to be any cursing in any of my books.
Yeah, well, not until he's old enough.
That's true.
That's when you're writing, because you remember as a kid, we gravitated towards the Spider-Man, the Captain Avengers, and as we got older, we found Vertical Comics, Dark Horse Comics, the indie comics, because they took us a little farther and beyond. That's what comics is for, and that's what this is what a lot of us is, right? There's a lot of collectors in the group, and that are they're more of, they look for titles, first appearance, and all this other stuff, right? So that for me it's a fascinating section of the industry. But again, for me, I'm always looking for new readers, new stories, new concepts, and stuff like that. And so far, your campaign seems to be like one of those that you wanna, it's great. It's a neat story. It's a twist on this and this and this, right? The zombies are just there to bring the characters to life. That's all they're there for, and that's what I've so far read and seen, right? So it's great. So Naman, you want to go through the different tiers? So
now I'm gonna first let's take a break from that, and I'm thinking about sharing this particular purchase. So there's all 3 covers. You get 3 covers, so you get 3 physical copy, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna opt for. I'm gonna opt for C. Then I'm gonna give one away to the one in the chat room. So
nice.
Oh yeah. So we could, if you want to run that, you can. But make sure you when you click the pledge, your credit card's not on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I've been showing my credit card information too much.
Okay. So what we'll do is Naman's gonna do a giveaway on. So he's gonna purchase. He's gonna pledge for the 3 cover, and he's gonna give one of the covers away to everybody in the chat. So I don't know what the hashtag will be or how Naman's going to do it, but we'll let you do that. Well, while you're doing that, we'll talk with Sean. Any event that you are going to be at next, conventions, that kind of stuff, or podcasts and the whole bit that thing?
Yeah. So like convention wise, I'm slowly gonna be building on that. So like I'm in Virginia. So I did, like I said, the 1 day con, and then the next big one in our area is in Virginia Beach. It's called Tidewater Comic Con.
Yeah.
That's in June, and so we have some bigger names there, but it's more of just our area. But they've been going for 10 plus years. So I've been going to every con that they've been open. So now I'll have a table. So that'll be cool. That's a 2 day con. And then the same people do Fredericksburg Comic Con, Incredible Conventions, I think it is. And that'll be in July. So I'm slowly branching out a little further. And then I'm hoping next year I'll have like the anthology to sell. I'll have a trade to sell. I'll have everything, in print. So it'll make more sense to have a bigger table. And I want to
Yep.
go to Heroes Con and Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah.
Those are my
awesome.
big goals, because Baltimore, I've been, as a supporter and meeting all these indie guys for my first campaign, and that was really cool. And seeing it, like that scene is insane at Baltimore. So many indies over there, but the table's a little pricey for the moment. It doesn't make sense for how many books that I have out. So I think by next year, was it September, October that it's normally going, I'll have enough to make it worth my while and showcase my stuff. So
Yeah, so
Cool.
that's so everybody who's watching this, please back the project, so that way he's got a couple $1,000 so he can actually upgrade his banners, have some books at the show. And if you are in the area, drop by, support indie comics, pick up a book, actually pick up 10 books and pass it around to your friends and stuff like that, right? So whatever you can, because your job as an audience member who's watching right now is to save comics, because Diamond's not there. He's going to do that. So we're not going to get any more indies, because all you're going to see on your LCS is, the big three: Image, Marvel, and DC on the shelf. And the indie books is where you want to be. You want to go into that shop, look at the different covers, get the ash can, get the get all these little great titles that you'd normally, it's like going to the library, right? Just picking up random stuff and reading different stuff, because there's only so much you can do with reading superheroes. They'll be, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be a reboot. Somebody's going to die. Somebody's going to get resurrected. That kind of right.
I think the new one's Gwen Stacy is going to be resurrected, which is insane.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I have the Death of Superman. I got those poly bags sitting there. I'm waiting for that one day where the world ends and I'll have the only copy left. And
Yep.
Can't even get rid of that.
You guys see my giveaway box?
Yep. I can get it. Okay. So what's the
what should I call it? Recon, okay?
Yeah, Recon. Yeah. Hashtag Recon. RECON, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So put in the chat, guys. Get a copy of the book, a physical book.
Start collecting.
Right. So the hashtag is
Hashtag
Recon. RECCON or RECON. Recon. Right.
I've been put even if it goes to Canada, I'll send it.
Yeah, and, he'll send it internationally.
Nice.
Right. There we go. Anybody putting in? No, nobody.
Well, I keep all 3 books. That's okay.
That's right.
And no postage for me.
We got 2. We got 1. Okay, there we go. 1.
All right.
See the counter. We got 1. Way to call Jay out on that one. Well, there's one person. There we go. Jay's in it. There's 2. All right. Ben. All right.
There we go.
Right. It's just quick recap. Sean, what's the story about?
Yep. So robots versus zombies. The food is scarce, and scientists over bioengineer the food that's left, causes an infection in the humans, which turns them into zombies, and they want to infect the rest of the world to be like them. It's Mother Nature versus scientists, and Mother Nature wins. Robots are built because the humans, there's not enough of them to fight this battle anymore. So they build the robots in their place to fight this war, and eventually humans have died off, and the robots have no purpose anymore. So they're wasting away at the beginning of this book, and he all of a sudden hears a scream. Recon, one of the Recon bots, and he hears a girl scream and jumps into action because that's what he was built for. And it's this emotional tie between this awkward, crazy Wally type bot with powers kind of thing, saving this girl and trying to keep her protected from the zombie hordes that are around, with a little awkward kind of comedy involved in the mix.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we only have 3 people.
You only have 3 people.
I know K-pop
There you
probably
go.
already bought a package, so you probably don't need it. But all right.
Look, everybody's off today. Everybody's watching. Which what they polled today? Is it today's Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
I know. K-pop's already backing, so
There you go. Yeah, K-pop's already backed. There you go.
yeah.
Right.
It's just an extra book you could have to give you to your friends.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so just because you got the free book, don't mean you shouldn't be backing it. Okay, back it and use the extra book to give it to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and
You gonna run
run
it?
it.
There we go. Last chance, guys. 5,
Okay.
4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There you go. Look at that. Uh-oh.
Hey,
Man, all right, congrats.
I think I've sent so many stuff with Ben Compton.
Okay, so you have his address. So
Oh, yeah, Ben Compton's address. Ben, you know to yell at me when I'm like 3 months late, right, Ben?
Right. Once the campaign is finished, and he'll get a copy, and we'll send it. Remind Naman to make sure you contact him on his Instagram there, and just remind him if he forgets or something like that to send you a copy, right?
Yeah.
And ask him to do a sketch card for you.
by the way. Yeah.
Right.
Now, I wish I could. I wish I could afford that. Can we see that figure that you showed in K-pop?
Yeah.
Show the figure.
Yeah, so I got it right here.
So what is
So
here?
this is a handmade statue. I have 5 available on there. This is the first one, and he said he'd be willing to make 5 more. It takes about 2 weeks per one, so it gives me plenty of time to get the book done, and then get all these in the mail as well. I've sold a couple already, it's an awesome handmade statue. It's exactly Recon, all the way to the back. He did it, exactly the way he is in the book. He actually does some work for Disney. He's done some DuckTales type statues. So he does this for a living. I got lucky to find him, and it's real heavy. It's about, I think it's a little over 6 inches. Even like there's the wiring from him right here. You kind of see it in the camera. Let me see if I can angle it.
That's cool.
It's like hardwired in it, so it's actually hanging off. The ears are actually plastic that he cut out in the yellow and then put on to the statue, and it came from across the world, and it came just fine. So I'm using the same exact packaging that he sent it to me in, because he knows what he's doing. Like, he cut out like the whole styrofoam exactly to shape Recon and everything. So it shouldn't have any problem being safe in a package delivering out. And even the wiring, like the little metal, see if you can see it, kind of like that metal right there. That's the metal piece around it. That's like I don't think it's a paperclip, but it's kind of like a paperclip type of metal that he shaped into the way that it is for the Recon bot. So it's really cool, and it definitely stood out at the con. That stopped a lot of people in their tracks. All the creators wanted to hold it, and they all thought it was a great idea. Of course, it's more pricey, but I needed something to stand out in this book, since it's a one shot. I don't have three other issues, to support getting to that goal. I wanted to stand out in the Kickstarter scene, and I think this did it really well. Um,
That's really cool.
yeah,
I could say I could see Sean. I mean, Sean is a perfect recruit for Disney because Disney loves merch and Disney loves.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, and this looks really good with all my other statues that I have back here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Showing that it doesn't
So
look like
there's
it's
four left, by the way.
Yep.
There's four
Oh, yeah.
left.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
and then
full app,
I also have
man, I'm
if you
already
can't,
tempted myself. I'm already tempted myself.
so I also have this as well. It's the standee. So it's kind of like if you can't afford that but you want that, then there's always this. I think I have it for $10 by itself as an add-on, or it's also in different tiers, like an all-in tier or what
Oh
have
yeah,
you.
okay,
And
okay,
that's the size of my face, basically. It's a little over 6 inches as well.
okay.
And it's pretty nice. I've done that before in my other campaigns with the
How
standee.
many you got that on the limit?
Yeah, there's no limit on that one. I think I made already. I have 10 at my house,
Oh,
but
okay.
there
Are
won't
you
be.
taking those to your cons?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
All the
good,
merch
good.
that I have left over from all of the Kickstarters, I put on the table just to fill out the table a little bit more with 3 books, and I felt like I did a good job of that. I didn't really sell any of the side stuff, but it stops people in their tracks to ask about it at
Oh yeah,
least,
you get to
and
talk
then
to
they
them. You get to check that.
so,
That's so
yeah.
priceless. That's
Yeah.
priceless. Right?
That's what
Yeah.
tier is that? That's a $50 tier or $60 tiers?
The statue or
No,
the standee.
the all package one.
The
To
all in I
me,
think was 60. And
yeah,
that's got the metal bookmark, the metal trading card.
t-shirt.
I think I did I think I did you can pick which cover you want of the 3.
Yeah.
And then the t-shirt I think I have on there. And I have the first t-shirt. I'm not wearing it right now. But it's a real nice t-shirt too. It's cut out from the cover A. I thought it looked really cool. And I think that was everything in the all in.
Yeah, there's 9 items in the all in
Yeah.
package. Yeah.
And the standee was part of that too. Yeah.
And the standee. So that is the $60 tier, guys. That's the all in package. If you want a t-shirt, if you want that what was that? Acrylic, or is that
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
standee?
it's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, nice solid acrylic, right? Throw it at somebody if you don't like it or whatever the stuff is, right?
Right.
So, but it'll do some damage, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great tier, right? Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
you
No.
know, I'm really admiring what you're doing. Yeah, I'm glad I have you on because I've been wanting to say this. Um, I think that I had Alan. I guess Alan is he was his second project, but so for most of the people I talk to are first time project, first time project or second, maybe second, yeah. But you're just starting out, right? You're just starting out, and um, uh, you shouldn't bet the whole caboodle on your first project.
Right.
Don't bet it on your first project. Uh, Bet on your 10,000, I mean 1,000 project, right? Bet on your
Right.
100 project, and because by the time you went to 100 project, you have survived how many, right?
Yeah.
And that's I mean, you survive, and that's also a proof that you have a bubbled up because you know the you have
Yeah.
to bubble up. Are you going to be bubbling up, or are you going to just die in the bottom?
Right.
So um, uh, it's a long journey. I think it's a long journey. I want them to think it's long journey, not a something. This is not a get rich quick scheme, right?
Like I said, I thought it was, but it's definitely not that. But
Yeah,
I'm all for it though. It's the passion. If I didn't have a passion for it, then I wouldn't be doing this right now. It's totally worth staying in this fantasy of writing or fantasy of my my world that I've built. Is just it's the greatest feeling that I've the most accomplishment other than like having my kids, stuff like that. other than like the real stuff like that, this is my biggest thing that I've ever tried to accomplish, and I wouldn't have anything else for the world. So
And you're gonna keep on doing it again and again and again.
yep. Oh, yeah.
So that's and I hope you see the thankfulness in that, being able to do that, you know,
Yeah.
and take and be able to take some criticisms. Uh, I mean, yeah, just because if you just pack up your toys and go home, and then okay,
Yeah.
but you're not ready for the game because
That's true. And I know I'm not the perfect writer. You know, you can't be the perfect writer doing your first thing. So I know I've gotten better and better as I've gone on, but I'm always going to have room to grow. So I'm always asking for, for advice on, how did this work out? And now like for Recon, actually, I have like an actual editor. I had in my other books, I have a friend that is like an English major and that kind of thing. But they're not in the indie scene as a writer themselves. So now I've branched out to get an actual editor and go that route and make sure it's as clean and polished as possible for the future. The more I do it, the better I want to get. I don't want to get stale and have the same problems that I had on my first issue. You can't build an audience that way either, because eventually they'll see it's the same thing over and over again. The same
Right.
issue, the same grammatical, problem or whatever. So
you do definitely need to show you definitely need to show progress from first to second, right? I mean,
yeah,
I mean, if you making same mistake on first one, first one because hey, first one people are supporting you, they want you to succeed.
yeah.
Because your family, your friends, you're part of your community. They want you to succeed, but on the second one, you just put this same mistake you put on the first one.
Right.
Then you go. Then as a supporter, what happened? Why haven't you got? Why didn't you not get rid of the amateurism that you had before? And so on and so on, right?
Yeah.
You have to show progress. Otherwise, people who supporting you could get discouraged as well.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope people get that. Anyway, appreciate you got that, and it was wonderful that you're willing to come on to my show and open yourself up, and
Yeah.
and yeah, I love anybody who's opening a door to their creative journey, and that's just exciting to see. Yeah, because
appreciate it.
uh, even though I'm just doing YouTube, I'm trying to do YouTube channel because I love creating stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So and I got myself a lifetime art coach up here. So it's exciting to see that young people are uh, walking this journey. So I wish you all the luck. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
here. And thanks for hosting, Loke. Appreciate you, my coach.
No worries. So
Yes.
just everybody recap real quick. So Sean is doing his Kickstarter, Recon and the Little One. That is running right now. We're 15 days left. Right, we're halfway through. We need to pretty much break this hump. We want to at least give him a couple more $1,000 into the campaign.
How many days have got left?
15 days. 15 days.
Okay.
The reason for it is Kickstarter is going to take a big chunk out of his campaign. Even though he made the $3,000 already, he broke that mark. We need to give him an extra $2,000 if we can. I know it's a big ask for everybody, but if everybody could actually share his, help him out with the social media, push his project a little bit more. That way he can have some books at conventions, because I know how tough it is to sell books at conventions. So that way he can actually continue his journey and develop his writing skills, tell better stories, tell better stuff. Maybe one day as an artist, you might end up working on his project, a letterer, a colorist, the whole bit, right?
And you
So
may have would only be great to see this one shot go to Netflix.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
animated
Exactly. You
series.
know,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. We wanna save comics, and this is how we do it, one creator at a time. And if you
Yeah.
can help out any way you can possibly can, that'd be great. Ben's social media and contact info is in the show note if you're watching. And yeah, I'm sorry, Ben. I'm calling Ben. Thanks, Sean. So yeah,
Yeah,
Naman. Yeah.
he'll remember us when he gets the
Yeah,
message.
yeah,
He'll
yeah.
remember all of us.
I've been up for a long time, so I don't really sleep well. So
I get it.
I'm grinding away trying to get stuff done for clients and stuff like that. So,
Oh,
yeah. Any what's your next podcast you're gonna be at, or that kind of stuff again?
Yeah. So my next big one is going to be on Sunday for the podcast. Kyle Prometheus, I think is his last name. He's huge on Twitter. And yeah, I'm gonna bet his show on Sunday, and I've got plenty of other ones to go. Yeah, I've got 4 or 5 more for the campaign. Some friends that I've known from the beginning, and some from new faces, just like y'all. As I'm always trying to find new guys. If anyone on here wants to reach out and wants to talk to me, I'm all for anybody and everybody. The more views, the more faces, the better. So
There you go.
Oh,
All right.
no, go. Oh, see, make sure you go see Circumstance and what's his name? Uh, mm,
Legion.
no, no. I mean, Legion's good too, but uh, gosh, gentleman with the voice. He always catch with the. He's always catch with the circumstance. Circumstance calls him his dad. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I know.
brain is I'll even Instagram you.
yeah, yeah. Just let me know.
Yeah. Uh,
Hey, Lady
yeah,
Brandon.
Lady Brandon. Yeah, it's a really interesting story. So go check it out. I'll provide the link below. Yeah. Thanks everybody in the chat room, and thanks Sean. Thanks Luke. Let's call it a night.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Night, everybody.
Yeah. Appreciate it.